Hey you guys, Jeff Belzer, living coastal in Ventura, and today we are going to conclude the X Games that happened this past weekend. We're going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we're also going to talk about how this is going to affect businesses and the housing market in Ventura for the next years to come. You guys, thank you for watching. This is Jeff Belzer. Please click the like and the subscribe button if you haven't already. This video is going to be full, jam-packed with tons of information about X Games and all of the inner workings that happened with the city, how it all played out, what people liked, what they didn't like, will it be here again, and also what type of effect it's already having on the housing market. As you guys know, we have done a ton of pre-marketing the couple of weeks leading up to the X Games. We're really excited about it coming to town. And we were desperately seeking out information that we could give to you guys in the form of reels and stories so that the people watching could have a head start on what to expect once they got in and the X Games was actually here and going live. It happened like that. Because at the end of yesterday was when there was really a crowd. There was a big long line.
I did notice a lot of road traffic. There's actually a lot more parking on the way.
Whoa! Happened so fast. It happened in a flash. I was really excited that I was able to get in early and able to get you guys that information. However, one of the biggest things is it was really hard to get information. I would go around on the fairgrounds while they're setting up, I believe, the Wednesday before, and I would ask people questions and they wouldn't know the answers to them. They did direct me, to the website often, and then I got in touch with some of the people who were able to answer those questions as far as food vendors, where you could enter the park at, and where you can go from there. Some more idyllic questions would have been like, what can a general admissions person see versus a VIP person see? Because when I went there and it's empty, it looks like there's plenty of space. But as it begins to fill up and the VIP or superfan sections or the XIP sections are filled up, that could be anywhere from like 2,000 to 5,000 people. Like, that's full. Well, where are the other 15,000 people supposed to go who bought general admission tickets? So when we get into it, the good news is, if you were there, even if you bought a general admission ticket or you were superfan or XIP, it was awesome. It went off without a hitch as far as the cinematography, being able to deliver online and have plenty of content through their social and their live streaming. It was a really epic event. There were numerous world records that had been broken. There was new gold medal winners, and there was some, past, performance. Some past winners came out in style. So one of the biggest things was going online. When you initially bought the ticket, you're like, okay, I'm going to get general admission. I'm going to X Games. I've seen it on TV, and you have a general idea about what you're going to be able to see. Like, I'm going to go see it. It's a spectator event. It's not really a participatory for the people going to view. You just want to see things. So one of the good things they did is they actually had a street course that you were able to skate, as well as a half pipe and as well as a pump track. They had e-bikes that were, a lot like the motorcycles. I think going forward, they're really going to push for e-bike in the moto. There was actually a couple competitors that were doing e-bike. It was almost like comical because they would rev up and you wouldn't hear nothing. But they would do the jumps just as fantastic as the rest. So they had the e-bike course there. They had a ninja course, which was mostly for kids. They had race car courses. So they had a lot of extra stuff, but people were going there for the meat and potatoes. People wanted to see street, bike and skate, BMX and skate, and they wanted to see park, BMX and skate. So the big problem is that when I went there early, it looked like they had scaffoldings that people could come and as you please. And on Friday, the first day, there was maybe, I would guess, about 10,000 people there. So during practice, while there was another event going on, BMX or Moto, it was really easy to get up into these seats and walk around and see. However, if you didn't have a superfan pass, you weren't getting up there at all. The big mistake that happened the next day is that these lines of general admission people start forming at the scaffoldings. and they didn't even know they had no chance of getting into those events at all.
All right, guys, this is Alex. And what's your name? Krista. And we're sitting on the ground, on the pavement, looking at a screen because Alex thought like what most of the maybe 17,000 people thought who ordered general admission. Alex, what did you think with general admission?
I thought that the really expensive ticket, general admission, meant that we could see everything, like
everything,
all the events, but we couldn't see at all the park section, and everything else was like unpractical. Like only the front people could see.
You could not see the park section at all. You could maybe only see a little bit of street with general admission. You could kind of see Half-Pipe from far away.
That didn't make any sense to me at all, unless they're going for the cinematography of creating content for social and for live TV streaming. They really wanted it to be focused. But I look at a basketball game or a baseball game, they're able to kind of, really focus in. They didn't do this sort of stadium seating, but if you're gonna sell tickets, I think even the people in the nosebleed get a better shot of seeing what's happening if they're higher than the event that you see. If you put the fans lower than the event or totally boxed out at an event, it's almost rude. And I think people were, offended that they didn't get to view, and they weren't notified about this stuff in detail when they bought tickets. And here's the big kicker, is I really believe people would have upgraded. So it would have created two problems. People could have easily upgraded, because if you bought a general admission ticket for $60 and you bought the 3-day pass, which was $300, you could have really got, a great bang for your buck if you had done that. But I don't know how many tickets. I don't think they could have sold more than 2,500 or 3,000 superfan tickets. There just wasn't enough seating. But if you would have bought a general admission ticket and 2 beers, you basically, which were $18, or maybe let's say one of those stylish Hawaiian burgers that were like $30 and like a soda, you would have basically paid the same price as the VIP superfan. So I think what was really frustrating for people is that they were there, they would have spent the money, they probably had the money to spend, but they just couldn't even get into the event. So it really felt like superfan would have been general admission. Now, I felt great that I got to go close. I actually got to have, be within like photo distance of the athletes. I wasn't trying to get their autograph and do that sort of things. There was opportunities for that. So maybe that would have been VIP. But really like having a place in the stands or being, 10, 20 rows back, but to only have about 20 rows of seating and then it be elevated so that the general admission couldn't even view it at all. It was kind of an insult. And I felt, when I realized all this was was day 2 of BMX, and I kind of felt a little sick to my stomach because I felt so bad about all the promoting I was doing for X Games, and then all of a sudden people going there and kind of being let down. So to conclude the X Games as an event, it was super fun. I thought they did a great job of incorporating downtown businesses. It was definitely slower during the day, but at night, if you were open and ready for the crowd, there was like kind of the hordes of crowd leaving that didn't want to go home yet, that would come down and do that. The big elephant in the room, which I think too many people were focused on, was, is there going to be traffic? And they did an excellent job, Visit Ventura, as far as getting people to park at Montalvo and down off the harbor and busing and putting people in by train and convincing people to ride bikes.
So yesterday I did the bike valet.
I rode my bike all 3 days to go to the event. So epic on all those ends. And we'll tail into how that's going to affect the economy and the housing market here. But one of the things is I think that was all really good. The only bad thing was just if they would have done a better job at either notifying and demonstrating what people were getting when they bought the tickets, and then also providing, more seating or viewing of these events. I think those can easily be fixed. I know we have the room and capacity to do it. We were only utilizing about half of the fairgrounds capacity. So I think next year will be even better and we'll overcome, the bad experiences that some people had. With that being said, let's go right into how it's going to affect the economy and how it's going to affect the housing market. So by streaming, by doing the social media, by being a global reach, just like Sotheby's has a global reach of our luxury brand, this definitely puts it on front and center for lifestyle. Anyone who likes, if they like the BMX or mountain biking, we have tons of that here in the hills. If they like skateboarding, we're getting a new Grindline skate park on the west end. We've talked about that on our west side video, and I'll go into more about how that's affecting real estate. And then we also have surfing right out front. So we've got this trifecta of outdoor living and lifestyles, and it just screams California. Unfortunately, for years, Ventura's just been kind of that small town between, Los Angeles, Malibu, Santa Barbara, and Ojai. Just kind of overlooked by these more glamorous areas, but it's a very down-to-earth place to live. But people are finding out fast, and we don't have a ton of inventory in the state, let alone this city. So how it's going to affect housing is that housing is going to continue to climb, I think, regardless what the rates do. Following this event, we just went to the NAR. I helped, the president, Ken of the National Association of Realtors. And we went for a little surf, and then they had this event at the Crown Plaza right by where they had the event. And one of the big stats came in is that we actually went from being, a society where the average buyer might buy and stay in a home from 5 to 7 years. Well, now it's going up to like 15 to 18 years. So I think people are probably going to be settled into where they're at. And then these more of micro markets, like people, going to buy and sell. People going to be motivated to sell to get equity. Not always the best decision. If you've got a low monthly payment locked in on a low interest rate, it's very hard to get rid of that, to try to have equity out cash, and then all of a sudden you're paying double or triple for rent. You're going to bleed through that capital very quickly. So it's not the smart thing to do. I think most people have the financial sense not to do that, to sell with no plan. So people have to move with intention. So what we're going to see happen with the housing market is we're going to see it increase. Let's go back to that Grindline skate park that's happening on the west end. Right now, today, over this weekend, they have next to the Black Hole Skate Shop, which was new, and there's going to be 3 coffee shops that go in within a 2-block radius of that. There's a property right next door, that zone commercial 1 and 2, and it is a perfect 4-bedroom, 2-bath that would be ideal for bed and breakfast. It's got the Kwanzaa hut out the back with a studio, the Nigel Houston, hostel hotel, for skateboarding, and what you can do with that Kwanzaa hut as far as business, as far as like surfboards, skateboards, cars or vehicles, like, cool classic trucks and cars, going perfectly with like the X Games style living and that type of enthusiast who wants to, be near a skate park or be near, great mountain biking and hiking and surfing. So a really classic property. As far as affecting the rest of business downtown, it's just adding one more thing. It's not like it's the catalyst that flipped the switch, but with all the things that are happening in conjunction with it, we're going to see an increase in desirability. For instance, Freedom Coffee just opened this weekend, and right now they're mobile coffee down on the boardwalk, but they're going to get this semi-permanent space right on the promenade. We've never had that in Ventura before, where you can walk up on the beach to get, nice coffee like espressos and lattes. In addition, there's the hotel, which is in the works, that's going to go right across from the fairgrounds. That's going in. People know that it's been a play for a long time, but it's actually being approved and going in. One of the things that's been being talked about ever since I got into real estate is the parking structure on the south end of Aloha Steakhouse right next to the pier. That's actually approved to be torn down, and they're going to do kiosk style vendors, commercial in the front. They're going to have restaurants on the top, and they're going to have the parking in the middle. So all that's been approved, and that's all going to happen and take place. And like I said, there isn't one thing that's the catalyst, but it's the combination of all of these things happening that are going to make Ventura more desirable, more amenities for the locals. Even though some locals don't like the growth that they're seeing, don't like what's happening, for business to succeed, there's a certain amount of base that you need, of base consumerism and capitalism happening in trades. We do have kind of a revolving door with some of the restaurants that come downtown, 5 to 10 years, sometimes 5 months. So you've really got to hit it and knock it out of the park when you come in here. But having more people to be able to go to those restaurants and those businesses is definitely going to help them survive and help the options, because without those things happening, towns either grow or they go the other way. And we don't want to be a town that's in decline. I think we're definitely, being one of the smallest Southern California beach towns, we still have that small town feel. We still have, a great mobility as far as getting around from the east side to the west side, being able to get on the freeways and travel north and south and move about town with great flow. I think we're not going to lose any of that, but we're going to gain some really key things. And with all this happening together, home prices are going to go up. So I can urge, as always, for locals, if you can't afford the house you want, buy something, even if you're starting with a condo or a townhome, get in, dig your heels in, build some equity, and in the next 3, 5, or 7 years, when the time is right, you can trade up or get into the home that you would prefer. But if you don't start, you'll probably never get in the game, and you might unfortunately be one of the families that moves away. We have seen a lot of that in the last couple of years, as people get into the hunt of wanting to buy a home, but then when they get depressed that they can't or get discouraged, and they realize, we're going to try something elsewhere, and they might go somewhere where the prices are half what they are here, their dollar goes a little further. But any economy that you go into throughout the country, there's going to be a balance between what's the cost of living there and what do you produce in income. And a lot of times you might get something at half the price, but the income you're going to get is going to be half as much as well. So that's something to consider. All right, you guys, thanks so much for watching. I'm Jeff Belzer. You're watching Living Coastal in Ventura. If you haven't done so already, please click the like and subscribe button and look out for more videos. Be sure to share with friends. If you're local or you're coming from abroad, go ahead and leave a comment. Let's interact. Let's make this interactive. I don't want to just be talking at you. So thanks again. Thanks so much for watching.